That's right, guys. Homelessness is much more prevalent here in Plymouth than many of us realize, and it affects people of all ages. At 19 years old, Josh Cassiani just graduated from the Plymouth Alternative High School. Getting to this point did not come easy, as he spent a portion of his teenage years finding himself with no place to live.
A few years ago, I was struggling very much with depression, and there was a lot of things going on in my life.
These struggles led Josh to stop showing up for his classes at Plymouth North, and soon he found himself all alone in the streets of Boston.
Went in the winter time, that's a pretty tough time to be homeless around this area in the Northeast. I went to March, so it was still very cold, around the 30s. And the experience there was hard to find shelter and warmth. And it was especially hard because there's a lot less people than you'd think who would just kind of be like, yeah, I'll help you out. So many more people I felt like were more inclined to just kind of shoo you away and have you deal with your own problems.
But not all people reacted that way.
I was just walking around trying to find some place to at least get out of the wind. And I found this late night diner, like a diner that's open all night. And I came in and I asked if I could just sit here in the warmth for a few hours. And not only would they let me, but they gave me a couple free cups of coffee and a free muffin. And I know it sounds simple, but it was just such an experience that stuck with me because they were the first people to really actually care and help me out. And it was such a nice thing that I'll always remember.
Even though Josh spent most of his homeless days in the city, Plymouth is not immune to homelessness. In fact, police here in America's hometown deal with it daily.
All of our officers are very familiar with all of our homeless people in town because unfortunately we do deal with them frequently because they tend to loiter in places that they find that are troubling to some people that are walking through the downtown area and other locations like that.
But being homeless doesn't necessarily mean people are hanging out in alleyways or sleeping on the streets. The definition of homelessness also includes people who are living in motels, hotels, cars, or even camping due to the loss of housing or economic hardship. According to statistics kept by the Guidance Department for the Plymouth Public Schools, these numbers spiked last year. We reached out to the Director of Student Support Services, Dr. Sean Halpin, who shared the following numbers with us. During the 2011-2012, 2012-2013, and 2013-2014 school years, Plymouth averaged about 60 students per year in the district who experienced homelessness at some point. The district also reports that they averaged another 30 homeless students who lived in town, but attended school outside of Plymouth. Last year, the 2014-2015 school year, the numbers increased to 91 in-district and 60 out-of-district students. So far this year, about 70 students within the Plymouth Public Schools system have experienced homelessness at some point. An additional 32 students who live here, but attended schools outside of Plymouth, have experienced homelessness as well. After several months of not knowing where he would sleep or where his next meal would come from, Josh put his life back together and finished school.
It was an experience that really shaped me and made me realize that I really need to shape up work unless I want to live this lifestyle for my whole life, which I don't. I really need to get back to it and work hard to have a normal life.
There are resources out there that we can provide to help people that are homeless. A teenager being homeless, is not something we want to see.
Captain Rogers mentioned several groups working to help support people struggling with homelessness right here in Plymouth. In the next episode of Panther TV, we'll take a more in-depth look at the people's programs working to get people back on track. Reporting for Panther TV, I'm Cam Smith.